Okay, great.
Okay, so sorry about the delay there, everyone. Hopefully, we're going to be online now. Let me see if it's working on the YouTube. YouTube says it's starting. Here we go.
Oh.
Hang on. So you've
Technology issues from the Technophone, I'm afraid.
well, at least you've made it, Ronnie.
I just had Hangouts, bloody crap, bloody junk. Today, no, Google, bunch of clowns.
Everyone else has coped.
Yeah, well, it's just not better than everyone else. Look, I've got it on there, I've got it on my phone, and it just doesn't work.
Sure.
No conversations. Have you tried starting one? Well, now I'm signing this George W. thingy is changed. Okay, well, back to me. So there we are. We tried to do the funky Hangouts business.
Okay, it looks like it's working now. People are commenting saying, "Hi, Ronnie. Hello." Okay.
Hello, everybody.
So yeah, but we have obviously we're ending on the ultimate. We've had all these other people on before, Ronnie, and we're ending with the main event.
Can you see me? I'm camouflaged.
Is that why you got that green shirt on?
That's my hobby activities today. I've been smashing it today.
Well, I've been working. You've been making trees.
So have I. I've been chattering and chit-chatting and discording and hobbying and multitasking. That's how I roll.
So thanks so much, Ronnie. We've built up to this, the last thing of the day. Hopefully, people can hear you. Can everyone hear Ronnie?
I hope so. Sorry, I'm not saying very much. Yeah, is everyone hearing me? I've got earphones in, so we don't get too disturbed. And if you get some thumbs up there, then I can. Should I be watching on YouTube or on Discord? I'm on Discord.
You don't need to watch anywhere, Ronnie. You can just gaze at my lovely face.
Okay. Lockdown haircut. Yeah, Mantic Dave. There you go. Where's the hair gone? So yeah, everyone's picking up.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! Someone, Doug the Fudge, just put a picture. He looks like a psycho. Doug, I don't live in the UK. Do not pass go. Do not come and visit me because that's strange looking. I don't know how you got two black eyes while you're in lockdown. That is remarkable.
I don't know what you're looking at there. That's.
I'm looking at the live streams, disco, just an extended holiday.
Okay, fine.
Doug the Fug, yeah. So Orcsbane is there. Lots of all our usual crowds as well. We've been seeing
a lot of the familiar names actually that would normally be at the open day.
That's why it was all going wrong.
So what we'll run through. We'll kind of do a
so you got
yeah. Sorry, what's this hat?
Thought you'd never mention it.
Oh, sorry.
look very carefully. You can read that out, Rob. Can you
Ronnie's,
see it?
Not open day 2020 hat. There we go.
Look, I've got a few. I did a few.
Oh, here we go.
There's an intentional typo on here. See if you can spot it.
Ronnie's don't salute 2002 hat. Wow, there's a few typos on there. That one.
Yeah, I was probably there's two. So I'm going to hand paint in the apostrophe because there's no two ways about it. It had an apostrophe when I did it. So I don't miss apostrophes.
Same person who did our rule books. Yeah, did those hats.
Yeah, but the 2002 I think is almost certainly me being a couple of beers in when I did it. And my final hat, and they arrived today, so I was so pleased because I'd ordered 2 weeks ago.
Ronnie's Adeptic Can't hat 2020. I love the way they're all slightly not quite right.
Shut your face. Can't.
Adeptic.
Anyway,
Adeptic.
Marvellous. One-off, unique pieces. Absolutely.
What are you doing with these hats? Are you going to keep them? Or are you going to?
Well, I think let's. If everyone stays to the end, they will find out what we're going to do with these hats. They're obviously not for me. At each event this year, we've been giving them away to best painted Mantic armies, or best events or things that people have been doing. I know one of them, the one I took over to the CanCon, the Clash of Kings in Australia, was then won by somebody, and an American chap bid on it, and his name will come to me in a second, bid on it, and the money went to charity for all the fires that were down in Australia. So it was fantastic that we were spreading a bit of love. And I usually take one of the hats that I've been given by a local gaming club. So I took an Ohio Ohio War Kings hat and took that down to Australia, and I've taken one of the Australian ones back. So we're starting to get the hats travelling around the world nearly as much as I am. So exciting times. We've got some plans for these three, which are our not attending events hats. the COVID-19 series.
So you're going to announce what's happening to them at the end?
I think we should say for the end, shouldn't we? I think
I think that's probably
everybody there.
Forces people to watch.
And go and get drinking before 5 o'clock on a Saturday night.
I've just been drinking all day. It's fine in the office, right?
I've been hard at work.
We'll run through a few things. So we've got Walking Dead to talk about.
Lovely.
A little bit of sci-fi. Maybe an update on some of the Kickstarters, Terrain Crate, League of Infamy. Bit of Kings of War.
Play Kings of War. Sounds good.
And then maybe finish on Hellboy. How's that sound?
Sounds like a splendid plan, sir.
It's almost like we spoke about it beforehand.
Never.
That's far too organised. And then obviously we'll have some questions that probably come in from people as well, and I'll kind of occasionally interrupt them and ask you bits and bobs there. So I guess, do you want to give us a little bit of an update what's happening with Walking Dead? We had a very good podcast with Rich Stockdale actually this week as well, but
probably not as good as my podcast though, which is back in number 1 place, I think, isn't it?
Unfortunately it is back in number 1.
Oh, unlucky Kyle. Winner, chicken dinner. So there we are. So Walking Dead, I mean, the two things, I think there's something kind of ironic and fatalistic, but since lockdown, we have seen the sales of Walking Dead going up. So there's clearly something that people like, playing a bit of the apocalypse during the apocalypse. I think, in fairness, we had a bit of a promotional sale on the core game as lockdown came in, and so we did it, quite well discounted. So people that have, and I think the wonderful thing about Walking Dead is, you can play with your family, you can play with your partner, you can play with the kids, and so you're getting a true hobby experience. But while Kings of War or 40k is a little bit too much to expect someone to do, Walking Dead is perfect because your partner may have watched the series with you, knows who Michonne is, knows who Rick is. And so, and then in between games, the hobbyists can go and do some painting, and, we've seen some fantastic paint jobs and everything. So I think a load of new people came in because it's so accessible to whomever you're locking down with. And also we had Wave 6, which was the Hilltop Heroes and Alexandria Heroes coming in. We had the show exclusive King Ezekiel. So there was a whole flurry of stuff which re-energized and re-excited the kind of hardcore base. So we got both things happening at once, which was jolly exciting. And, that, I think, along with Dead Zone and a few other games, have seen a real upswing. So exciting times. We've got an omnibus book coming, which I'm sure Rich talked about at length, but that is going to bring all the rules into one place from all the expansions. There was the first 4 waves had their own cards and books and everything else, which is where the range was getting filled out. The whole narrative was being played, all coming back into the omnibus. So all the keywords and everything for All Out War is in one place. New scenarios for Call to Arms, which is the War Games version, which is the player versus player. This is where they are at Alexandria, at the hilltop. They're using SMGs. The walkers are a threat, but they're not as much of a threat. Those guys over there with some serious weapons are. New scenarios for that. And I think we've also got some wonderful scenarios, which is where here's Negan, which is a wonderful way of getting all the Negan's gang. And it's the bit of the comic that never got written, which is where they clear the sanctuary out. So that's a co-op board game. So for those that don't quite fancy a full war game, there's the board game option there. And what we've done is we've taken that, used the tiles, used the pieces, and created Rick and his gang, Tyrese and that lot, clearing the prison out. So although you've got the prison expansion for All Out War, that's the more war gamey skirmish version. We're going to have some fun. So Tyrese has got his famous scene where he gets locked in the gymnasium, kills all the walkers, and there's a few scenarios there. So having some real fun with the whole Walking Dead range. I think it's got to maturity, if you like, now. It's got its fans of the Call to Arms and of the All Out War. There's an intro way through the Here's Negan game. There's a board game route in as well. Plastics are beautiful. The range is really very good. We're now adding to it with some really very, very nice quality resin pieces. Just adding a couple of bits. Actually, I need some of those. So it's doing well. And more releases planned. I think we're going to do the Whisperers next. I think that's because we've just done a load of the All Out War cards and the omnibus. And I think the call to arms will give us very quickly both a call to arms and an all-out war expansion. You know what I mean? A whole new way of playing both games. So we're going to get scenarios for all-out war and some new, game styles for call to arms and a whole new fighting style. And that's what we love about that. We will retrospectively go back. We've never done the Kingdom properly, which will all be out horseback. And we'll go back and do those. But there isn't as many characters in there as there is in the Whisperers. And I think the Whisperers are really current as well at the moment. So we're jumping around a bit now because we want to add interesting bits continually. Keep it flipping and changing.
I think it's interesting speaking to Rich the other day, saying that the compendium's a really good chance to push on tournaments as well, and maybe because what we haven't done so far is add a nationals. So maybe look at that.
Every time, isn't it? I mean, there's some super hardcore in the UK. It was going very, very well. I think it wobbled a little bit because of the TV series. The viewings went from 16 million to 3 million, and people just didn't get on with those kind of series 7 and 8. I think that has been very popular, but I myself haven't actually got round to watching that. So it just tells you that the problem with IP sometimes is they have the zeitgeist for a time, and a really good, robust gaming system with wonderful miniatures can wobble through no fault of its own because the tournament scene was growing through waves 1 and 2. We had retail launches, waves 3 and 4, and 5 and 6 have come out and have been really popular. They've done really, really well, but that growth of this gaming system has just floundered, and we kind of scratch our head about why. So it's still doing very well. It's got some super hardcore fans. It's got lots of casual fans. It will be super if the omnibus can and the lockdown can kind of re-energize it, because I think it's one of the most interesting skirmish games out there in terms of you really can play in an hour and 20 minutes, and there's 2 different ways of playing. Both start with a similar core, but one's a more violent PvP, one's a more tactical management of many assets like the threat tracker and so on and so forth, and victory points to whichever way you like it. Your figures are the same and so on and so forth. So exciting.
Yeah, do you reckon, one of the questions that always comes up, do you reckon we could see more Lee and Clementine, or more based on?
Yeah, I spoke to Skybound, and I would love, and they're very keen to do, and they're very happy for us to do, Clementine as a grown-up. So I have, and it's a testament that I've been working so hard. You keep me too busy, Rob. But they've sent me the code to play all of the Telltale story. So I played all the first season, and I've still not managed to download it and blink and play it. So I do need to do that while we're on lockdown, because I love Clementine. She's hugely popular, and I think she's absolutely badass. So I'd love to see her as leading either have her own expansion or leading a call to arms gang, or probably both. So I think we definitely go there. There's the grown-up Carl figure. I think that could be a really funky figure to do as a show exclusive maybe next year. But I think I did say on one of the podcasts that if they come up with some good ideas, we're cool to get. Yeah, TNG, wasn't it? Right. So hopefully they're going to come with some ideas about show exclusives and what they'd like to see, and that's what we'll make. We've got some great sculptors happy to work on this, and we love the way it's going, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think it's going to keep rumbling on, and so Lee and Clem definitely, for sure.
Okay, cool. So I think I've gone through all the questions for Walking Dead. Oh, actually, someone asked about, could we do something like a Walking Dead RPG?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd love to ask. I'll go and ask them for that, because I think we could do particularly because we love that kind of minis RPG. TBC. I'll go and ask. Okay,
cool. We've had a few people asking for updates on Terrain Crate and League of Infamy, about what's going on with those outstanding Kickstarters.
Well, actually, that segues quite nicely. It's almost like we planned it, Rob. So, of course, the other thing that's coming to Walking Dead is the terrain. The way the Terrain Crate 2 terrain is perfectly compatible and absolutely beautiful for Walking Dead. And that's both kind of the ruined, smashed up stuff and also the modern apocalypse stuff. So trying to see if I've got any of that on my desk. I haven't actually. But, as we all know, I'm a bit of a terrain freak. And so, as you know, there is a bit of a pandemic sweeping the world at the moment. the Terrain Crate 2 stuff was supposed to go on a boat, Feb. And then it was supposed to be with us March and shipping out March, April. Obviously, China got affected by CV19 before we did, and that delayed any of that going on a boat. The good news is next week it goes on the boat. So as of Monday, Tuesday next week, it's all booked, it's all prepped. We will let backers have the boat name so they can watch it sail around and hopefully not get sunk or captured by Somali pirates. But as long as neither of those two things happen, it'll be with us 6 weeks after that, and it'll be straight away dispatched after that. So little delays from things outside our control. The tooling was all done, but CV19 was having its wily ways with us a long time before it put us into lockdown in Europe and the US. So that's on the water as of next week. And I think League of Infamy is the pledge manager is going to be closing in a week or so's time. Rob, is that?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the idea is it closes on Monday. So we just had a few remaining people left to finish off their pledges, but generally most people have filled it in.
So if you want to jump on, now is genuinely the last chance to secure yourself definitely a Kickstarter edition. Literally days. If you don't do it in the next couple of days, it's going to be closed and then it's been and gone. So it's looking wonderful, isn't it? I mean, we've all had some play testing of it and been reading of it. Yeah. Looks fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think the whole idea of occasionally cooperative, you're all kind of on the same side, but you've all got your own little secret missions to do. It makes for some great gaming evenings. And I think, it's a little bit more hardcore because you're playing on two levels. You've got your classic dungeon crawler level and plus your sneaky behaviour level. But I think for the kind of vet player or someone who's prepared to play as a GM and see the group through, I think it's a terrific game.
Yeah, I think I can't see any. Oh, actually, I'm doing a Kickstarter. Someone says, will there be a Vanguard or Kings of War Kickstarter this or next year? I don't think.
So, I mean, I think at the moment our current thinking is that Kings of War is finished with Kickstarter. We are going to talk about it shortly, but, we'll be talking. One of the things we used to need help with was to tool plastic sprues. But actually the fan base is so wonderful and so amazing and so huge these days that, we started tooling directly. So, this year there's going to be 3 plastic tools as the Abyssal Dwarfs that are here, looking absolutely gorgeous and sexy. We put them out, you get one in Vanguard, so you get 5 grunts, or you get a more complete, regiments, what have you, and army deals for Kings of War. So between the two, it's just about, I mean, we still need to go out and buy some of these things, but we're just getting to the stage where we can do the plastics. And the other thing is I don't want to stop the development for a whole year while we do a Kickstarter and then deliver it. So, the current plans for this year was going to be a summer campaign book with some special magic rules, loads of fluff and background, and a huge big Kings of War summer event, followed up by the Clash of Kings book at the end of 2021, because we'd have had a full year of tournament scene. We could have seen what's working, what wasn't working, what was being used, what was being abused. War Machine's truly the death of the game, etc., etc. We'd have a full gaming year to look at that, and the RC would respond accordingly. But kind of both of those things are a little bit on hold. So there will be Kings of War book, no two ways about it. We just don't know if it's going to be 1 or 2, one in the summer with that. We'll just have to Matt's with it at the moment. We're pulling through the content we need to get out. But will there have been enough games to see what needs tweaking to do a full Clash of Kings book? Don't know. We have to see. But yes, I think those game systems probably for the time being are free of Kickstarter. Yeah. They're not there. They're coming out through trade. They're coming out through your local gaming store. They're coming out through the Mantic web store. And exciting that it is, I think. So, yeah, please jump on board and get on board with what we're doing. And we'll talk a bit more about Kings of War in a second, because I just realised I've just started talking about
that. Yeah, we kind of skipped over sci-fi. So we've had a few people today talking about what's happening with like Warpath, Firefight, Dead Zone, kind of generally, what's your thoughts on those, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing was last year was very much a Kings of War year. Vanguard came out and we did Kings of War direct to trade, to direct without a Kickstarter. So that took a lot of our brain power up and sculpting and resource to get that off and launch. That said, we still did the escalation book, which was phenomenally popular, and it gave all of the factions a big update. And there was rules for Mason Labs, and help me out here, Rob.
There was rules for big double map battles. There was the kind of different scenarios where it's like more objective based.
So basically, if you haven't got escalation, you need it because it's the next evolution of Dead Zone. So that was really just kind of marking for General's Compendium. It really brought it back up to as good as we could do, which is almost why we haven't done one this year, because everything we could think of is in there. We don't want to change the army list and therefore make that book redundant. So, at the moment, I think you can download the core rules for free, buy escalation, and you're playing Dead Zone with all the rules that you need to play. So it's really, and Dead Zone's very, very popular. And again, another one that's growing crazily through the pandemic. So there's something about containment protocols being initiated that appeals to everyone's dark sense of humour. So Dead Zone doing very well. We started thinking about making Dead Zone plus a little bit bigger, to kind of push into the firefight space, because we didn't feel that the graduation from Dead Zone into firefight was feeling like the same game. It felt very like a different game. And what the original plan when we did it was it would feel like an evolution where you drop a few rules, the squares and the cubes, and add a few rules, some squad rules and tanks, and evolve the game, but with the same kind of core stat lines and things. But that didn't happen. And if Firefight had been a fantastic game and taken off, well, that's fine. That's what it had to be. But actually, some of the fans of Dead Zone and the RC have got behind a kind of bigger version. So we're seeing that evolve. We're seeing it play, but it's looking more like Firefight 2.0, a proper version of a sci-fi 40-figure couple of tank game. So that's in play testing. That's getting played around with and stretched to see whether it's a Dead Zone expansion or it's a game. And we're looking at that because we love our sci-fi plastic range. We love our terrain, both hugely popular. Probably just need a few more kind of PVC scatter pieces for our sci-fi gaming system, I'd say, having built a couple of gaming tables. But you never know what might happen in the future. A little bit of battlefield dressing for your sci-fi predilections. Maybe it'll happen, who knows. So I'm going to change my hat. And
you're like Beyonce getting different costume changes.
Well, you know what? I'm going to spin around and go topless in a minute. So we love our sci-fi, and we've got I've got a few left field plans. I've been playing some games during lockdown that's kind of mashing up board games in a sci-fi setting with some stuff that we think we could have some fun with. So for sure, we've got the Asterian models coming out very soon. What's that chap called?
The Spectra and the Matsudan.
Looked fantastic. Matsudan, we're having some fun there, pulling in some of the Dreadball kind of races that are maligned. So we've got minis coming out, excellent stuff, great tournament scene and growing all the time. We may or may not have some new terrain bits coming, and we've got some big ambitious plans for some of the bigger stuff to roll out in the next year or two. So keep watching this space. If you're into our sci-fi, keep painting your minis up. We'll get you to finish them all, and then we're going to change it to square bases instead of round. That'll mess you all up. No, good stuff happening. And I can, there's a slow grow league for Dead Zone.
Yeah, so the Blackjack Legacy is doing that at the minute. So they've got Andy Birdis from there's got a competition at the minute, which is painted 150 points in May. We kind of a few people are doing that already, and in fact, so much so that a lot of Dead Zones currently sold out.
Yeah, and we've literally sold so many. We sold out the bases. I had to go into my basement the other day and find round bases and drop them off for mail orders. But yeah, right here, I'm just showing off some of mine. This is my Dead Zone bits box that I'm literally working on as we speak. Me and my boys are going to be playing I'm going to participate in the Slow Grow League. We've got some vermin here. Got to make sure I pick the vermin up and not the ratkin. What did I say? The round base figures here, so it's definitely the right ones. So these are my sons. So we're just having some fun. It's a wonderful, wonderful game. I don't think there's any game where the interaction between the scenery and the game and the narrative is quite so cohesive. And we're going to keep working on it. I was reading a lot of comments earlier on all the stuff we were doing, on thoughts that people had. So keep watching.
A few people asking, anything more with Star Saga, do you think? Maybe digital missions or something like that, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a fair bit out there. It does have its fans. You probably could do with a little mini book, a little digital book or something. We could probably play around with something there and see what there is. Again, it's another one I think like with Here's Negan and Walking Dead Dead Zone. It's done very well in lockdown.
Yeah, solo play, that's why, yeah.
Yeah, so people that are at home and can't get to the club aren't participating. There isn't. I'll be honest. It's always like after a Kickstarter, you're a little bit worn out with the project once it actually hits, and there's a piece where it reels out, and then you kind of re-engage with it and re-get fresh with it. Moment, I think we're still at the finishing off the Dead Zone stuff that's all launched a little bit. So, but I think there is some fans out there. So certainly not impossible. Certainly something that could be looked at.
And then Dreadball, I've hopefully managed to persuade you to do a supplement next year.
I changed my mind on that. I say that's a no.
But if you were to do a supplement, maybe next 2021 for the tournament season.
I think you're very. I mean, obviously you've got. It's not like the whole reason that the release schedule is filled with goblins is because you're a goblin player, and now you're the world champion at Dreadball. All of a sudden, Dreadball is appearing on our release schedule, so you work it out. But yeah, it's got its fans, hasn't it? I still believe it's one of the best board games as a straight board game certainly we've ever done, and I think it's one of the best board games, miniature board games around in terms of excitement, fun, setting up. But if for some reason it kind of ran out of steam, it could have been that people waiting for the Kickstarter. Maybe there's too many teams. I don't know, but it's very balanced now. It's a beautiful game. It's still doing well, and its fans are super hardcore about it. So I think, new book 2021, early 2021 as well, isn't it? I think
if there was the idea to kick off the tournament season, yes.
Yeah, and a large American sporting event that happened sometime around February. It may well be tied in something to do with that, which is a kind of wussie's version of Dreadball.
So I think that's all sci-fi. I think that's we've done a good round up there. So maybe a bit on Kings of War. It's kind of what's going on, state of play on Kings of War.
Yeah, well, I think I drifted into this early, didn't we? I got a bit excited when we were talking. But, the thing is, we are pushing plastic sprues out directly via your local gaming stores. There's always a plan with Kickstarter is that helps us get to the critical mass, gets to the first waves of tooling and the books and the fans. And then, it's all down to the local stores and tournaments and events organisers. And, this year was absolutely going to be the biggest year ever for Kings of War in terms of tournament play, in terms of tournament attendees. I think it's going to be probably 50% up on last year, and last year was the best year we'd ever had before because we've not only got a growing, burgeoning scene in the US, we'd also launched the third edition at the end of the year that had brought a whole lot of people that had drifted away back in, a lot of people that were thinking about it, jumped on board. And so Kings of War is in rude health, and long may it continue, and hopefully this nonsense that's going on won't slow that down. So what have we done? Well, the Abyssal Dwarfs, which are out, they came out just a month or two ago. There's the Hellfane. I mean, this is just a testament to the kind of ambition we've got. Just a beautiful big kit, and you've got better versions of that. But the Hellfane came out, the Plastic Sprues came out. That did Vanguard. It also did the whole Abyssal Dwarf. That's the first time baddie dwarfs, naughty dwarfs have been done in plastic. So whether you're playing Ninth Age, whether you're playing Oathmark, or whether you're playing, of course, the best rank and flan game in the world, Kings of War, here you go, you've got your plastic Abyssal Dwarfs, and they're gorgeous. I mean, Dave and Luigi did just a marvellous job, and our tooling partners did. So much on it, so many weapon choices, head choices, bodies, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tools. And I think for the first time in a long time, probably since the Renedra days, we've got our tooling sorted out, for our Kings of War line. We can do quality, we can do it at a price that we can afford, and we can bring it out to the fans one at a time. So we really enjoy looking at each army. One of the problems with a Kickstarter is you're looking at 3 or 4 armies, and it's all a bit of a mishmash, and then you don't always play those armies. Oh no, I picked up the wrong sprue. That's the vermin. Ratkin. No, sorry. Shucks. And then coming out soon are these goblins, which are just the best plastic goblins I've ever seen. I'll be honest with you. The detail is remarkable. I'm not doing it.
You can see that quite well actually on here. Yeah.
It's just there. Look at that. Just brilliant. Let's see the weapon options here.
So it makes spitters, rabble, and sharp sticks.
It's almost as if It's almost as if you're stealing every single plastic sprue that's come in the building.
It's almost like I've got 90 at home.
Almost as if. Now look at these shields. Just look at those. Really characterful. Very goblin-y. This is because Dave Simmons is actually a goblin. And he's live role-played goblins for years and actually morphed into one. We call him Badger, but it's because we don't dare call him Goblin King. And that's Rob Exotic, Goblin King. There's a lovely Moor Beast on here. There's actually 2 on the Moor Pup. Sorry. Okay. Pendant. And
Pedant.
And then the heads. Peasant. Yeah. So fair enough. You called it. If you have for that, let me see if it's going to autofocus or not. It's getting on me. I'd like to go on the head.
You could try and put your hand behind it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good idea. Actually, I'm not going to get a.
I'm not getting any cap.
Not a perfect image, but you're getting the idea. Head after head, and they're just fantastic.
I think there's 13 heads on that.
Well, there's not anymore because I've glued a load of them together. I can show you a few of them.
Very cool.
I mean, just look at that. It's better than yours, isn't it?
Well,
have you made it?
At least mine will be painted by the end of the year.
Well, mine might be for sending to Martin. There's the Moor Pup. Was the Moor Pup?
Yeah.
Archer. So really, there you go. And they're all made off the same sprue, More pups, stickers, spitters, everything. There's one with this beer somewhere. Pleasure to glue together. I just, and then there's the one with the longer weapon. Oh. Oh, I'm a naughty Ronnie.
Probably I can't control you when you're at home.
Oh, yeah, of course. You weren't quick enough to turn it off, were you? So there you go. There's your second world exclusive that we've had already in this interview. So I hope you all got it. Eek. So, so plastic's coming. Exciting stuff. The Luigi and Dave smashing it, and we're really enjoying that. So we talked a little bit about the books. Kings of War's going really health. By far the most important thing that's happening in Kings of War, of course, this year is the big Kings of War battle that we're having at... I
haven't heard about that, Ronnie. Who's organising that?
Well, I don't know. Someone else is going to be organising it. I'm painting stuff for it right now. But if it's going to happen, it's going to have to be someone far better than me. But actually, I'll just see if I can... can I turn the camera around?
Oh, God.
I can.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, look. So we've got... There's the... that's what I've been doing today. Getting that down. I'm repairing all the Mantic scenery that we've got. Some of our the terrain crate, and I've just been flocking them a little bit here, sticking the ends on so it's a bit more user friendly. And then those are about to be done, but my wife's not very happy with me at the moment. On the dining table, there's 2 more completed woods, and there's the 6 that I'm halfway through. So really beautiful stuff. And this is also going to be for the Mantic HQ, so that we've got lovely sets of trees, so that when we have the best people playing our Kings of War games, to normal tournaments and Vanguard events. And actually, people have been looking, but there we go. We've actually put the River event. Thank you to Martin for telling me how to do that. It's all gone wrong, Martin, so it's your fault if it's the wrong colour now. But no, that's looking great. We've been doing that. So we've got at least 10-foot by 4-foot game coming up, which is going to be the stalwart, solid, beautiful and lovable dwarfs playing against Rob Exotic, the Goblin King. What armies are you fielding, Rob?
Well, Goblins, obviously, and Abyssal Dwarfs. Yeah, so it's kind of probably is sadly Abyssal Dwarfs and their Goblin slaves that they've kind of strung along. Or it might be that the Goblins see that the Abyssal Dwarfs are the more powerful and side up with them. Yeah.
So big Kings of War battle coming. I think it's galvanising me into doing something I've been wanting to do for ages. And dabbling a bit with Dead Zone and some of the Walking Dead stuff, but getting the terrain sorted, and then it'll be there in Mantic HQ as well forever for people to play on and come visit us and play games. So Kings of War in splendid health and good fun and going around the world. And it's just a shame that the tournament scene's been interrupted, because there's really wonderful and a very international scene growing and growing and growing. The French right now are just on a little kind of French European platform for like a Kickstarter equivalent. That's got hundreds and hundreds of backers for the French edition, and they're doing very well. So it'd be lovely to bring them back. There's a German book going to be being launched in about a month's time, so that's going to be available. So there'll be a German language edition, and there's a Spanish language edition as well, which is already in Spain and is coming out now. So all around the world, it's growing. It's in its third edition. And we're now seeing, full translations for this game for the local markets.
So we had a bit we touched a bit on this in Matt's interview earlier on, but obviously the summer campaign is the book is probably, we're looking at where that's going to come out probably now, because obviously no one can really play.
It could be something, because we had some great Magic rules. We'll just see. Sorry, carry on.
I know, that's it. I was just going to say it might be that kind of changes.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
We'll just see. I think we're getting an update in the UK next week. I think the US is kind of coming out of it. I think Europe's coming out of it. We're just going to have to see. I think there's two things. Firstly, can people travel? Can people actually move around? Because at the moment here that isn't possible. And then secondly, what does it mean for standing opposite somebody for 2 hours playing a game with them? And can 5 of you do that? Can 5-10 people get together and play a game? Can 50? Can 100? Who knows? If maybe you can have in your cluster, a couple of people, and you can get from your club and you can all play a game, it would be a great time to do it. I think we'll all be working from home for a lot longer, so there's less commute times. If you can have a bubble of 10 and a couple of those, you persuade your wife to let you have a couple of your gaming mates, it could be something that we get on and do, and we'll run our big Kings of War battle as part of that. It could be that the whole summers are absolute write-off and no one's playing any games, with anyone except in their house, in which case, it's probably not relevant to try and run a big gaming event where people get run. But we will respond. There's a lot of it written. It's a lot laid out. So we'll do as much as we can with the time available to us to please as many people.
And then that will be a softback book, I think.
I think usual 64-pager. I would say either 1 or 2, definitely digital versions as well, so it's easier on the postman and able to get immediately, particularly if it's been a while coming. But keep watching this space. Make sure you sign up to the newsletter. That's where all the best news, stories, and goss come out.
Actually, the question here, which is probably apt, because we were talking about how things are going out of stock recently. Someone says, when is Dungeon Saga likely to come back in stock? Because I think that's a good solo game as well.
Yeah, excellent game, beautiful game, and got legs. It's on the sea, and it will be with us in the next few weeks. So keep watching this space, and it's a great game, of course, for both, for lockdown and for, we're not going to be going to pubs and concerts anytime soon anywhere in the world, I don't think. So it's a lovely game for a couple of friends or family and partners to play without, it's a full hobby experience without it being too much of a, brain ache. There's no army list building and too many mean things to do. So that's a great game. So very soon, 4 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Back pre-order probably next week or so, I'd guess, Rob.
What's that? Yes, yeah, probably. As soon as we know it's coming. Yeah,
it's definitely on its way now. So very soon.
Oh, the German language, you mentioned that earlier. Is that main book and Uncharted Empires, or just the main rule book? Do you know?
Oh, that's a good question. Either they've done the main rule book and that's it, or they've done the main rule book and put some of the Uncharted Empires army lists in it. It might be it's the main rule book, and as long as that's successful, they'll then do the Uncharted Empires. Okay. Because the more work they have to do, the more expensive the translation costs are, and that's a big cost for somebody to bear with an unproven one. So if it isn't in, and it might not be, it might be in, but it might not be. If it isn't in, make sure you do buy the Kings of War German edition, because that's the way that we will get the Uncharted Empires.
Cool. And then
someone screen, didn't they?
What's that?
Talking. I thought I was being so smart with my little thingy. Someone screen grabbed my indiscretion.
Oh dear.
There we are.
Where's that? Is that screen grabbed in the? Oh dear, Ronnie.
It's on the thingy. There we go. That's. Oh my goodness. That's why when you. Will the Ratkin and Goblins start to launch with the summer campaign book? Look at that. Someone's very presumptive close there, isn't it? Like we do Ratkin. So, what an excellent suggestion that is. Who knows? Yeah, I think we fancy kind of a splash launchy 2-player sets. You know, they come in and they go out. We did the Northern Alliance. It was a great one against the Night Stalkers. That was a lovely one. So if only we had a beautiful piece of art and 2 new plastic sprues coming along, we could well do something like
that. Also, someone says once League of Infamy is coming out, I guess Dungeon Saga will still carry on selling that as well. The 2 games kind of complement each other quite nicely.
What was the question?
Will Dungeon Saga continue to be sold even when League is released at retail?
Yes. I mean, we thought maybe it was coming to its end, but there's just no sign of it stopping. I think the package is lovely, the gameplay is lovely. It's a really nice game, and so we'll be able to print another, I think, 1,000 or 1,500 of them. So not huge print runs, but to shows and people just turn up and come along and buy it. So at some point, we'd probably love to do a second edition with a maybe simpler TAS or something. But at the moment, it's going to keep selling, because also the League of Infamy is an entirely different spin. And if you're a dad looking to play a game with your kids, I'd recommend Dungeon Saga before I'd probably recommend League of Infamy at this point. Yeah. And if you're a club looking to play a game with your mates, won't be mates at the end of a game of League of Infamy, then League of Infamy is a much more polished gaming experience.
So I think we've kind of covered Kings of War there and kind of that.
Yeah. Alliance coming. There's lots of new stuff coming, everybody. I mean, we've got the Well of Souls coming out. At the moment, we're not doing new releases. We're calling it month 1 and month 2. And that's because we just don't know when the stores are going to reopen and therefore have the demand for new releases. But in month 1, we've got Well of Souls. Well of Lost Souls. Well of Souls. And there's constantly new plastics, new resins coming out. There's 2 or 3 others in that month as well, alongside some Hellboy releases and things. So people are asking about Ratkin and other things. There's always lots of things coming out for Kings of War. There's not a month.
The Dreadfiend and the Soul Flayers in Matt's one earlier on, so you can go back and have a look at those.
Superb.
So I guess Hellboy next, kind of finish on that perhaps and see what's going on.
Yeah, well, we've got that, and then I think we'll finish on with what we're doing with these hats.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing. So, Hellboy is jolly exciting. I mean, obviously, it did a great on the Kickstarter. We've launched the Wild Hunt that came out last year. Hellboy Mexico's was, I think, just shipped before the lockdown.
Literally just before it happened. Yeah.
Sneaked out. So that's out there. And we were just on the brink of launching the BPRD Archives, which is build your own adventures.
Yeah.
And what else was coming with that? Was something else with that?
Hecate and Baba Yaga, I believe. So different kind of...
Baba Yaga, which is big end bosses.
Yeah.
Different way of playing, some new funky cards for your game. So it just keeps it fresh without being a whole new expansion. So that's happening. We've also, as you know, doing the occasional one-off very cool sculpt. We did Krampus at Christmas. Immediately after this, I'm going to be live streaming the contents of this bag, which may or may not be a working prototype of our Hellboy dice game. So my son and I, plus our skilled video assistants, will be doing a very bad job, no doubt. We're going to show you how this game plays. It's super fun. It's super exciting. It's just a great, not drinking game, and good, bluff your way. So stay tuned. Where should I stream that? That'll be on Facebook.
Yeah, our Facebook page, yeah.
So go to the Mantic Facebook page and have a watch. And we're just going to play through the first couple of turns and show you how it plays. And the original plan for this was to take it to Gen Con this year. I don't think that's going to happen now. I think it's not going, Gen Con, who knows, fingers crossed. But so we're going to find some cool way of releasing this and getting it out to people. But yeah, keep watching. And if you want to find out how to play Hellboy or not drinking game, dice game, watch on Facebook straight after here.
Cool. And then kind of, I guess you've mentioned what's going to happen with the hats and some things like that.
Yeah, so obviously we're enormously grateful, as everybody is, for all of our key workers and essential workers and armed forces around the world and all the tough times that people are having. And so as of probably Tuesday or Wednesday, we're trying to do the open day, but there's so much to do and so much tech to deal with. What we're actually going to do is have some gifts and items up for sponsorship. And we're gonna put them up. So Mike Mignola has agreed to sign an art print.
Yeah, so sign the print that he did for the Hellboy board game, the game that he did there.
And then we're going to put alongside that the Kickstarter edition of the game and the Box of Evil, plus some cool resins and other bits.
Hang on,
and
Ronnie,
bobs.
you can keep talking. I think this might be Trina coming to visit me. Hang on.
Okay, I'll keep talking. So we're going to put all of that up as a lot for people to bid on. We've also got Robert Kirkman to sign a Walking Dead CGC cover. So he's going to be signing one of those. And alongside that, you're going to have one of my 2 Kickstarter editions of The Walking Dead. Now, that Kickstarter edition has not been available for a very, very long time. So I've 2 in my office. It's one of my 2 versions. So one of the last 2 available, plus some of the resins that are difficult to get and come by, and some other bits and bobs. So your full collection of Walking Dead will be going up for auction. And then we're also going to put these 3 hats up, probably with a gaming experience alongside it. So if you do the open day, you can come along to a future open day, or come along to Ronnie's Invitational and attend us with Ronnie's Invitational. I think if you get the Adepticon hat, which all of will come with a Ronnie Bard figure, of course, the exclusive plastic Ronnie Bard figure, who can't have enough of those. We're going to have one of these. So I think this will come and have a beer with us at Adepticon or Gen Con if you go to one of the US tournaments. But I'll buy you a beer, and the Salute one will be a beer somewhere in the UK, either at the Salute event or one of the other UK events. Come along, buy a beer. If that doesn't work, come to HQ and we'll play a game or something like that. But they'll be going up next week with some bids. We might also have a kind of small little bid £10, and we'll be putting up a 25 or 100 of those with a Ronnie Bard and a few other things that you might be able to bid on, leftover Kickstarter exclusive bits. And all the monies from all of these winning bids or donations or anything will go to food bank charities and other assorted charities, which we'll make clear. So they'll run for the next couple of weeks. We're also going to have a special code for all key workers, which will give them a discount. So if you come home shattered and tired from working in a hospital all day, you can at least look forward to discounted minis. And again, we'll run that through May. So they're all going to go up next week, just as a big thank you to all those people that are helping us through this crisis. And the rewards and prizes are going to go off to a suitably good cause to help out people that are less fortunate than ourselves. So really, really looking forward to that. I've got one announcement to make, which is with Bob Point decided to have a Limericks contest, knowing my love of the Bard character class. And so there has been 26 entries to the Ronnie Limerick Contest, which is very good. I think you can find those on Kings of War Fanatics,
Mantic
I think. Mantic Madness, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So go looking for those. They're very funny. Not too rude, which is actually a surprise. I thought there was going to be some shockingly rude ones. But Roseanne Gallagher down in Oz has put, I don't know how many, but 2 of them are absolute crackers. So yeah, well done, Roseanne.
And you agreed to perform them dressed as a bard, I believe. That's what I heard.
You may have heard incorrectly, but you never know. Get enough beers in me, I'm sure I'll more than happily. Let's see how this goes. I think over the next few days, celebrating 10 years of open days, we've been putting a few things up. We're going to be deep diving into Ronnie's archives. I'll be putting more updates on what we've been doing down during lockdown. So do tune in for that. And I'll show you even some of the rare miniatures from my very old collection to go back to a long time before most of you chaps and chapesses were born. So keep tuning in on watching Facebook, and we'll see if we can't all get through this whole COVID virus business together.
Did you talk about anything? Did you talk about any other miniatures in your charity thing, or is that?
I didn't mention that. Do you have an image?
I think I do. Yes. Shall I have a look? Let me have a look. Make sure. Yes, I do.
So, great. So
you can't see it, but you'll have to.
Well, I describe it. So Mike Mignola has been doing pieces of art each day, different characters, different things, like some of the other wonderful people that work in our industry, and raffling them off for charity for his cause. And we saw him do one which was a Hellboy robot.
Robot Hellboy, yeah.
Robot Hellboy. And Rob got in contact with our chaps over at Dark Horse and said, we'd love to sculpt that. And we're going to do it as a sculpt. And we're going to donate some of the money from that one to charity. Now, we can't give all of that charity because it's a big kit. We're going to have to get it sculpted and everything else. But that would be also part of our CV19 Robot Hellboy. So they gave us permission to do that. I think James may well write some rules for it, so you can even use it in your game.
Yeah, so it's solo play actually. So another kind of nod to everyone kind of being in isolation. So yeah, it was amazingly. Hang on, let me get this off. Mike Mignola, after doing that kind of fun drawing, has then gone out and written a whole backstory now for Giant Robot Hellboy. So we've got all that, which is really interesting. He's even done like little notes for us. So yeah, that's going to be really cool. And yeah, the idea is that Hellboy gets hypnotized, and then he has to control the robot by himself. So really interesting. It's been tricky for some of the rules because of this new background, but yeah, that should be really, really cool and a very interesting, different way to play as well.
Yeah, so both a bit of fun and great cause and a cool model for everyone's collection as well that everybody can get hold of. So yeah, we can't, with auctions, not everybody can get something and they can end up going for quite a lot of money. But we wanted to make something available for everybody to add to their collection and also give to a good cause. So everybody wins.
So let me check, see if there's any more comments. It's interesting. A lot of people heard that you were dressing as a bard to read those. Almost everyone in the comments.
I see no comments about that. No.
Not in the it's not in the Discord. It's on the live chat on.
Discord doesn't count, Spade. I think that's it today.
So yeah, you need to comment in Discord then if you want Ronnie to dress as a bard to read out those. But yes, so I think we've been through all the comments on the live stream. So unless there's any more on Discord.
There was one actually. People are talking about drinking in isolation being a bit like drinking at the airport, which is true. It's kind of a necessary evil. As Rob and I can testify, having travelled to a few licensing and gaming shows, we like to get a few beers in before we get on the plane and then try and sleep. Well, I try and sleep and he plays Switch for 15 hours solid.
Hey, it's the only time I get to get the Switch off the kids, so I take advantage of it.
Yeah, so I think it's. I don't know. Are we there? Are we done?
I think we're done. So, well, we can say. So what we'll do is that's the kind of end of the official.
Everybody, can I say thank you to all of the fantastic Mantic staff who have been working tirelessly. Many of them from home, not seeing anybody for days on end. A lot of them in the warehouse who are all socially distanced, wearing masks and gloves, making sure that you all get your toys. So well done to everybody for working so hard through this period, and also a big thanks to those people who we have had to put a few people out on furlough where there's no trade stores open, and they're still everybody soldiering on through. Thanks to everybody of our customers who have been still ordering. That is keeping the lights on, and we're only a small business. We really do appreciate that. We're getting the orders turned around in super quick time. So do get on there. We've got a crack team and they're absolutely monstering it. So it's just a time to say thank you to our fans, thank you to our staff, thank you to all our freelancers. Luigi that's given up his time to sculpt today, James that's been on here, and I'm going to have to say thank you to Rob for taking us online with our first ever virtual open day. And this poor chap's working every day in between homeschooling. His boys are teaching him a few things at home as well.
I know all about the Stone Age now.
Yeah, that's right. So thank you, Rob. Thank you, everybody. Matt, the studio guys, the warehouse guys over in the US, Kyle and Joe that are manning the trade for us, and all of our Pathfinders, rules committees. There really is a huge team effort of suppliers, and everybody's working hard to keep looking after you, our fans, and our fans. Thanks for buying off us because that really does keep the lights on. So thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. And so that is the end of the official kind of timetable today. We end at 4. But then, as Ronnie mentioned on the Facebook page, I'm sure when you've got set up, he'll be going live with the Hellboy dice game.
Yep, I've got it here. I've got my willing gaming participant over there.
Yeah, you missed it earlier on, but I'm going to do virtual bingo now. That's what I've got. So more live streaming for me, but with friends this time. That's not. For,
okay. That's not a man. We're actually doing bingo.
No, that would be completely crazy. But so thank you very much for everyone that's joined in. It's been really good actually. Hopefully we could do one of these again, maybe for.
Yeah, I certainly think it tells us that when we do it. From now on, we've got to have someone doing the digital side as well as the face-to-face stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe Matt Stevens will actually just host and run a big video live stream, and we can pop in and do interviews and get off Pathfinders from around the world to participate because these are global events and we are a global company.
Yeah. But right, well, I'll see you soon, Ronnie.
Yeah. See you soon.
And we'll see everyone at home whenever. Who knows? Right. Bye, everyone. Bye. Thanks for watching today.
Stay safe, everybody.